Hello, my name is Jared Montalvo. I'm here to speak on the first negative of why California, California should secede, should draft legislation to secede from the union. First of all, the issue with the opposition's, my opposition's plan to draft legislation to allow California to secede from the union is that it already, its core has already skipped something very important that it needs to do, not just at a national level, but at its own state level as well. First, for the California to secede from the union, it would actually have to amend its own state constitution, amending Article 3, Section 1, stating that the state of California is a part of the United States, and that the U.S. Constitution is the law of the land. To amend this constitution, actually, there would be a necessary number of ballots, signatures, to add such a thing to the state ballot. The number of signatures necessary for this would be 585,403 signatures necessary to add this onto the 2018 state ballot, which then it would be voted in 2019. After that, it would actually have to go straight from passing this amendment to this California state constitution to then having delegates from the state of California either send delegates to Congress to start amending, to start the process of creating a constitutional amendment, which would then allow California to secede. To do so, first it would actually need to have the approval of 38 of the 50 states to pass this legislation. To address the issue of California's monetary self-sustainability and how it affects the U.S. government, my opposition mentioned that California is known as a donator state, which basically, as he defined, was that the state of California gives more in federal taxes than it does receive from federal funding, more or less. And while that is true, the argument for that would be that the reason why California gets less money back from the government is that it's in less need of it, which my opposition mentioned as well. The reason is that the reason why other states get more funding is that the national minimum wage is currently at about $5.15. This is according to the National Conference of State Legislators. And the current minimum wage for the state of California is $10.50. The reason for this is that the state of California has such a higher cost of living than the rest of the United States does, which is why it also makes more money and it gives more, but that's why it gets less. Because other states such as the state of Georgia or Kansas do not actually create such revenue. They have very small national revenue. In comparison to the cost of living between the city of San Francisco, California, and to the city of Atlanta, Georgia, as a comparison, in the overall ratios of a $50,000 annual salary in California is compared to around 18,000. is around $18,000 and is the equivalent to an $18,000 salary in the state of Georgia. In comparison for the cost of living, overall, it's out of a 100% national average. The points are that California's overall is 272.6 compared to Atlanta's 101, which is an overall necessity of spending. That's what it is. Okay. The amount spent in California is 121.6 to Georgia 103.2. And the one that actually makes the difference between California and Georgia such a high number, the difference is that housing has an 82% cheaper cost in the Atlanta, Georgia than it is in San Francisco, according to Sperling's Best Places, which uses the housing point averages for San Francisco specifically is 604.2 compared to Georgia's 103.1 to a national average. Once again, going back to the fact that California makes a lot more, as they mentioned as well. In regards to the opposition's statement of Donald Trump's immigration plans to the state of California, as of February 28th, Donald Trump's first congressional address, he had mentioned to Congress that he has a plan for a bipartisan immigration reform, where he will be instead of looking for people who are charged for crime to start allowing those who are not within that range to be